Connecting. And we are live. And I have Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Canavas? Am I saying
Yeah, just like the stuff you smoke, but with a V.
That is so funny. So, Kat, you are the co-author of Crappy to Happy. Yep, show everybody. Let me go full screen here. Look at that. Crappy to Happy. That's the new book that just released today. And I actually am a co-author in the book as well, right?
Yep, you're down here in the bottom with all those names.
Yeah.
You're close enough, but yeah, you're down there.
So exciting. So awesome. So your story is in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have more than one story in the book?
I do. Ariel, Patricia, and I each put two stories in the book. We each took two sections because there's 4 sections in the book,
Okay.
and that way, we owned it a little bit more, so that it wasn't just a compilation book of other people's stories. We wanted to really be a part of the book,
yeah,
and have our 2 cents in there.
Sure, and so. Tell a little bit. Let's talk about your stories a little bit. Like you have a pretty unbelievable story from what I've heard.
Well, the stories in my book, one of the stories, it's called Breathe, Just Breathe. And it's when I was diagnosed with breast cancer recurrence. I'm a 3-time breast cancer survivor. But what makes my story a little different is that my dreams told me I had the breast cancer before I went to the doctor to get tested, because their tests were not showing it. It took me 3 months each time to get them to finally find the breast cancer. And so the first time I was in stage 2 with it in my lymph nodes, the second time with the recurrence. And this was when I had the chiefs of everybody watching me at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute.
Wow.
And I had recurrence that was 9 by 11 centimeters. And that sent them all running for the hills because it didn't show up in their tests. And the thing is, Ken, there's a lot of us women, when you get breast cancer and you're young and you have large, dense breasts, a lot of the conventional tests just don't work. There's actually 30 to 35% of us. So I'm kind of leading that charge for women, where we have to listen to our female intuition, our dreams. And if you're not meant to die, Ken, you're not going to die. Your spirit guides, your guardian angels are going to come in. We're all born with them. We're their job. And they obviously take that job very seriously. So I'm still here to talk about how I had to go up against the chiefs of everything and say, no, I really do have breast cancer. I know your tests aren't showing it, but I want you to do exploratory surgery on me, which they look like I had just poured gasoline on myself and set myself on fire.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Wow. So they were saying, no, you don't. Were they calling you crazy?
Well, they didn't start calling me crazy, Ken, until I moved to when I basically fired them and went to New York to have a double mastectomy because they kept saying your breasts are healthy. We're not going to remove them. And the dreams were already coming back saying it's back. The third one's there. Get to the doctors and get it taken care of now. So I went to New York, and my Boston doctors called the New York doctors and said, she's off her rocker. And so, yeah.
Well, it does sound a little crazy.
It's
you gotta give them a little bit of credit. I mean, it does sound a little bit out there.
It does, and
almost like the Immaculate Conception.
I know. So I ended up saying to the New York doctors, you know what? You're right. You need to send me to a therapist, because when she's done with me, she's going to convince you that if I didn't have this done, I'd be crazy. And so they all looked at me and they said, okay, you don't need a psychiatrist. And when they did the double mastectomy, they found the 3rd cancer was back. So my recurrence had a recurrence. And then they called in the Boston doctor.
During the surgery?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. None of their tests were showing it?
No. And what was so funny was, I mean, I don't know how squeamish your audience is with medical stuff, but I have to tell you, Ken, I looked like Queen of the Borg, all right, because I had gone through chemotherapy, radiation therapy. My hair was all missing. I had a double mastectomy, so I was flatter than a boy.
Wow.
and I had all these drains coming out of me, and I went into the doctor's office. I mean, people probably would think she's got to be crazy if she's asking for this kind of treatment, but I went
Wow.
into the doctor's office, and he jumped up and he ran around his desk and he grabbed me and he hugged me. And I was in such pain, I thought I was going to pass out. And he said, I just want to thank you. And I said, thank me for what? He said, teaching me a really important lesson. And I said, well, what's that? And he said, learning to listen to my patients. You were right. You did have a third one. And I said, well, will you get behind me then with the doctors in Boston so that they don't think I'm crazy, because I'm really not? And he said,
wow. I mean, because it's not usual for a woman to come in and say, "Hey, take them." Like,
it's not.
no,
No,
Like,
I liked the twins. They were great. I did. I had to send them off to heaven ahead of me.
oh my God, you said. Oh, I have a dear friend that she's in Glenn Morshower's acting class. She's an actress. Her name's Yasmin Ryback, and she was on my show not too long ago. And she's been through. They found it in one breast, and she went in. She's like, take them both, and they're like, well, you don't have to. She said, take them both. I'm not going to walk around some lopsided, like take them both. And so she did, and she talks about it very openly, and she's, huge for getting tested, but it sounds like the tests don't always work.
No. And that's where your dreams, your intuition, our dreams are really sacred doorways to the divine messages. Your deceased loved ones come in and they give you information. You get guidance to stay on your life purpose pathway. And that can all happen through dreams. And dreams are also a way our prayers are answered. So, we all pray for this and we pray for that. Give me a sign, give me some information. It comes in your dreams. So keep a dream journal.
So you talk about that, and I don't want to get off topic too far. I mean, we are here to talk about the book that everybody right now needs to go get a copy of, Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. Right? Like you can go to Amazon, you can go to kenwalls.shop, www.kenwalls.shop, and it's there in my store on Amazon. So like, wow, let's go back to talking about, talk about because I don't know that I really remember my dreams. Like I wake up, sounds like you might be intentional about it. Like, hey, I'm going to remember my dreams.
Well, I do set that intention. And for people like you who don't remember their dreams, you've got all these wonderful people coming in, like Lynn, who's just saying hello on your Facebook page. It's like, oh, I love this. Scott Rickard, or whatever.
Ricard.
Wow. Ordered Ricard. He says he ordered his copy. We'll ship on the 16th. Wonderful, Scott. Some of the authors in this book are still waiting for their copy. They've been waiting a long time. But
I'm one of them.
One of them too. So what I tell people is, put a dream journal beside your bed, and then I use the acronym SHOW DREAM in order to help remember your dreams. So S, set your intention. Tell yourself, go in front of a mirror. I believe in mirror therapy. Talk to yourself, look into your eyes, which are the windows to your soul, and say, set your intention. Oh, organize yourself. Have your dream journal beside your bed, a little flashlight, or your phone if you want to just talk into your phone, your pen. D, decide you're going to dream. Say, you know what, demand a dream to come. Just, I'm going to dream. Then when you wake up, and this is really, really important, Ken, when you wake up in the morning, don't jump out of bed looking for that dream journal. Instead, stay in bed in the same position you were in when you woke up. And just very slowly roll over and grab your dream journal and start writing. Okay, so that's R, remain in your position. Then write down the emotions that you're feeling from your dream, even if you can't remember the dream. When you woke up, were you happy? Were you sad? Were you frightened? What were your emotions? Write that down. Then A, add to them. What colors did you see in your dream? Was it daytime? Was it nighttime? Were there people? Even if you can't remember anything else, were there people? Were there voices? Were there animals? And then M, underline those words that are important to you, because their meanings is the beginning of you learning your own dream language. And you'll start talking to yourself.
So,
yeah.
So the doctors thought you were crazy. That's funny. So I want to ask you, tell me the letters again. S.
So dream. The acronym is So Dream. SODREAM. So Dream.
Okay, so SODREAM.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's in one of the latest blogs I did on my website. So you can actually go there and look it up. I've always got lots of hints for remembering dreams. And I always say, if you wake up in the middle of a dream, you really need to write it down. Your spirit guides woke you up. I often had them waking me in the middle of the night to say, no, don't take that chemo the doctors told you to take. Oh, that was another fight. Don't take that one because it's not going to work and you're just going to get sicker. You're done. And they were saying, the doctors were saying, no, you have to take this. I said, no, I'm not going to. And here I am today. It's been 25 years.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious?
Yeah.
My gosh. Okay. So I'm a little flabbergasted here. So, and Lynn says Lynn, go over, get a copy, right? I'm one of the authors in this book. However, my story is not as cool as Kat's is.
It's very cool. I love the bat. Now you know why.
Go to kenwalls.shop and grab a copy. It's in my bookstore on Amazon. So go get it. It's amazing. There's some amazing authors in the book. And you have, wow, that's an incredible story. And I'm sure it's way, way deeper than where we've gone so far. But, and let's talk about, you've been on shows and broadcasts all day since 9 o'clock this morning.
I have, I love it. As you can see, I'm just like pumped.
You are. I love it.
I'm pumped. I love being on shows. I love being on radio shows. I love meeting new people. I was never shy about that. I'm an Army brat. I was born and raised in Europe, and we were talking about that. My dad was a Green Beret. They kept him in Berlin, Germany. I was there when the wall went up. I was in first grade. So, I had to make friends fast. I have 5 different first grade report cards, which are 5 different first grades.
Oh my gosh. And I said to Kat, everybody, I said, my gosh, I can't imagine. I would not have wanted to be the very first guy to ever go on a date with you. And tell everybody what you did, Kathleen.
Well, my dad said the same thing. You're not dating. It's just as simple as that. I'm an only child. I was in Europe. My dad said you can't date because I won't let you date enlisted men, and the only men you can date are officers. And I don't know what he was thinking. Like, I'm such an ugly hag, I can't get an officer. I don't know what he was thinking. But, so I went out and got his commanding officer, and his commanding officer really wanted to date me.
Oh my!
And so I brought him home for dinner, and my dad had to sit across the table from him all night and say, "Sir." I think I was born a stinker.
Oh my gosh. What did your dad say later?
Nothing. There was nothing he could say. I dated the guy for quite a while. In fact, I actually got engaged to him. But that was another dream. I had a dream when I was 9 about my future husband. I knew what he was going to look like. I'd seen his head. I'd seen his face on a pillow. Honest to God, I'm not making it up.
9.
At 9 years old, the Berlin Wall had just gone up. It was chaos in Berlin. You can't imagine the chaos. Like what's happening now, Ken, in our country is very similar to what happened there. And the chaos, the rioting, all of a sudden walls go up overnight. You are hemmed in. You can't leave. You can't move around. You're in lockdown. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I've been there. I've done that. I know what's happening here. And if you think for 1 second that this is temporary, you better get out and vote. And not vote for the socialists. Do not vote for the communists, because that's what's happening here. So anyhow, but that's a different story. So the wall went up, and my dad got called out in the red alert. He was gone, early in the morning. We didn't see him. He was actually over in East Berlin. Are you ready for this, Ken? You better hold on to your chair. My dad was in East Berlin counting Russian tanks going into the local bar and calling them back. And then he dug escape routes for the students that were stuck over there that were actually from West Berlin. But I was in my girlfriend, my best friend's apartment with her mom. All the mothers were together, and we were sitting on the floor playing with our Barbie dolls. And one of the mothers said to my mom, "Kathy's going to be the first one to get married." And my mom said, "Why is that?" She said, "Well, because she's so pretty. She's the prettiest. She's going to get married." And my mom looked at me sitting on the floor playing with Barbie doll. And she said, "Kathy, you're going to get married early?" And I said, "No, I'm not getting married till I'm like 27, 28. Oh, they all laughed. They thought that was so funny. And then another one said, "So are you going to marry a prince because you're such a little princess?" And I said, "No, I'm marrying a millionaire." Oh, they all laughed. They thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And my mom's looking at me, and one of them said, "So what's your prince going to look like?" And I described him, and my mom says, "Have you seen him?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." Now they're all thinking pedophile, right? And I was 9 years old. Oh, pedophile. Who's this man? Where did you see him? And I said,
"Oh my God."
I said to my mom, "I've seen him in my dreams," and they all calmed down. "Oh my God, it's okay. She's not doing anything wrong. She's just crazy." And my mom is looking at me like, "Oh my gosh, she's a dreamer. She's gotten it from her grandparents because they were spiritualists." Is Kathleen German? No. My mother was from Stuttgart. No, my grandfather came from Stuttgart, though, and I've been to Stuttgart many times.
He was Doug was born in his father is the inventor of the Little Giant ladder. So his family owns, it's the 3rd largest ladder company in the world. Doug is, and they're out in Utah. Yeah, but he said he was born.
I miss that German food. But anyhow, I fast forward now like 20 years, and it's Sadie Hawkins night. There's a big party at a really grungy bar. I don't go to grungy bars, but one of my best friends was getting divorced and said, "Let's have a drink together. Let's talk about this. Maybe I shouldn't divorce him." And we walked in, and the guys would have screws and we would have bolts. And if the guy's screw fit your bolt, you were supposed to go home with him. This Neanderthal walked up, and his bolt almost fit my screw, and that was it. I was like gonna leave. And my future husband, walked up. And when I saw him, it was the face on the pillow. We've been married almost 40 years.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my gosh. And this was in where? Germany?
No, this was in Florida. This was in Fort Myers, Florida.
My gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's unbelievable. So how do you have dreams for other people?
I do. I do have dreams for people.
So like you get, messages in your dreams for other people, like, hey, ring ring, hey, I got bad news for you.
Yeah, or good news. Yeah,
Or no,
yeah.
right. I'm kidding, but yeah.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm basically a phone line.
Wow.
I'm one of those people who's a phone line to the other side, and I do in my book Surviving Cancerland, which was the first book I ever wrote. It won 4 book awards, no, 3 book awards, and was an Amazon bestseller. I won the Nautilus Book Award. And in that book, I talk about the dreams I had for other people, and some of them are incredible. Like one woman had surgery, she popped a fever. She said, I don't understand what's wrong with me. Her daughter called me up and said, my mom is in ICU now because her fever's so bad.
Wow.
And so I had this dream, and in the dream, I walked into her hospital room, and there were these strange people standing around in like 1800 clothing, and they all put their arms around each other, and they said, we're in the photo, and they gave me their names. And then a guide came in to me and said, she was sutured up with sutures that don't dissolve. They're the wrong ones. She's got an infection in there, and tell the doctor. So I told the dream to my girlfriend. She told it to the doctor, who said, that girl's crazy. And it turned out it was true. And all the patients he had sutured that day had to have their stitches taken out and redone. It was mismarked. It came from the factory, mismarked.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So let me ask, is this gift, is it available to anyone?
Well, Lynn has it. Lynn, one of the girls on Facebook,
Yeah.
she has dreams for other people. So yeah, other people are born with this gift as well. It's just that, like me, Lynn probably keeps it quiet too, because she says she had dreams starting from kindergarten. Hello, Lynn. We're best friends already.
Where I knew things would happen at school that day. It was crazy to me. Wow. Lynn's a sweet, sweet, sweet lady. Good friend of mine. So wow, that is incredible. That's incredible. And all of, like, a lot of this is in your story that you wrote in Crappy to Happy.
There's one story in Chaos to Clarity. There's 2 stories in Crappy to Happy. Yes, I write about it because, like Lynn, we want to let other people know that if they're having dreams like this too, it's great. It's fine. It's normal.
And you feel like that's your angels appearing, or your guardian angel appearing to you, and wow.
Mm-hmm. They do. So cool. My guardian angels are Franciscan monks. That's in the first book. I'm not Catholic, but they did get my attention. So
wow. Yeah. That is phenomenal. Okay, well, everybody go get. I mean, it blows me away. Because a lot of people. What about that? What about the people that think that's just not possible?
I know it's hard to believe if you don't do it, and you're not the only one. I was on the Dr. Oz show, and he actually called up every single one of my doctors, and I was surprised that they actually talked to him, but they did. He called them up to see if I was making this stuff up, because I mean, it's so bizarre. I agree. Yeah. And he had my records on the show, and it's actually on my website if you want to watch it. It's called The Sixth Sense. And that's all true. It's all been validated.
I have another friend, because you and I are friends now. It's official. We just became Facebook friends. But I have another friend that was on Dr. Oz's show as well. And she died for 90 minutes. She died. She was gone, out, done. And they kept working on her the entire time. And this one doctor said, we're going to keep going. But she she knows what happens on the other side. And she's like, it's not what everybody thinks. I promise you that. She went there. She said, I visited family. And I mean, she's got a whole story. I interviewed her on my show. It's absolutely an amazing story. So, he does bring people on that are mind blowing, and you just have blown my mind. I had no idea. Lynn says some haven't been good ones for friends. I know I should write them down, but instead I tell my daughters beforehand. There's proof before it happens.
I understand that, Lynn.
You do? Really?
Yeah. I tell people so that when it does happen, they realize that I really do know what I'm talking about, that the dreams are real, that we can go onto Einstein's time continuum, and we can travel that time continuum in the dream realm and see the future and bring it back to the present.
Wow. Anything else you want to share about that? Because honestly, it's so far, and I don't think you're crazy at all. I love what you're talking about. But I don't know. And I'm just being honest. I don't know what questions to ask. And that's terrible. I'm like really good at this normally, Pat, but I don't even know what questions to ask. Like, is there anything else you'd like to share with anyone about this?
Well, I think it's really normal. I think that a lot of people have precognitive dreams, but they don't realize necessarily what it is they're having when they have it. And if you don't write down the precognitive dreams, then how can you possibly go back at some point to see if they're real? You'll have synchronicities during the day. You'll have signs and symbols that will show up. But write your dreams down, write them down. And if you start having dreams that come true, I want to know about it, because I'll talk about it on my show, which I'm getting ready to do in like an hour on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, another video podcast tonight for the Crappy to Happy book. So you have them, more people have them than they realize. And because it's still such a not really acceptable thing in society, they keep it quiet.
What about for a long time, and I don't have this anymore, but I had this recurring nightmare. It was a recurring nightmare. And it was like, it was literally, I've never talked about this. My wife doesn't even know about this. But like I had this dream or a nightmare for years. And it was random. It wasn't every night. It was like, whatever. And it was being chased by like Bigfoot inside this house, a house down this hallway. And I'd always wake up right when he was getting ready to grab me, and terrified, right? What about those?
That's a great dream. That's a great dream. Well, I'll tell you why. It's happening a lot, especially now with the COVID lockdown. Here's why. We have our shadow self. We have our shadow, me and my shadow. Yeah. There's nowhere you can go where you can't have your shadow. When you're in a house, your house is you. If this were my dream, I would say, okay, so I was in my house. Do you remember what floor you were on?
The ground floor.
Okay, so you were grounded, and you were running around in a grounded area, and you thought you were being chased by the shadow. But just imagine if instead of being chased, what if you were running to something and your shadow was trying to keep up with you? Because you move fast, Ken. There's no dust on you. I know there isn't. And your shadow may have been trying to keep up with you, and you're bigger than life, so you'd have a bigger shadow.
Wow. Look at that. That is unbelievable. I almost said that's insane. It's not. It's wow. That is incredible. So okay. I've mentioned, and I won't keep you much longer. I know you got to get ready for your next show, but I guess we didn't talk about when you needed to get off of here.
No, we're just having fun.
But so I've said a lot of times, I read Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about this in one of his books. I heard him talk about it. something called the 100th monkey syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And are you familiar with it? Where they
Mm-hmm.
teach a baby monkey a new trick and take it and I'm going to butcher the story, but basically another monkey from the same family on the other side of the world or another island, without being taught that trick, starts doing the trick. So, you know, Einstein said everything is energy in motion, that all the thoughts, everything, God is, you know, it's all out here, and all we have to do is tap into that stream. And so I've said, you know, like, for example, have you ever thought of an invention, maybe had a dream about an invention, and you chose to ignore it? 6 months later, you're walking through Walmart. We'll just say Walmart. I never go to Walmart, but whatever. So you're walking through the store, and there is your invention on a shelf that's newly released. And you're like, that was my idea, right? What, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that's called quantum entanglement. That's called quantum entanglement. That's something that my husband's really good at explaining, because his radio show is quantum spirituality, but it's universal oneness to a degree, but I call it quantum entanglement. And it's where you can almost share dreams. We are oneness. We all come from the same source. And I call it the ocean of gnosis. Good evening, Brad. The ocean of gnosis, and it's where we come from and where we go back to as our droplet of essence. And so when we are sharing quantum entanglement, universal oneness, what one person knows can go up into the dream world or quantum entanglement world, come down into another person, because we share thoughts, we share emotions. And that's why right now, so many people are so anxious, because they're sharing anxiety. But at the same time, you can also share joy. You can choose is the word, to share joy instead of stress. And that will go up, and you will be entangled in the quantum entanglement of joy. And that's what I tell people to do. Just blow the stress away, just blow it away, and embrace the joy. You can do it.
Wow. Absolutely. Wow. 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 Scott Ricard, I'm assuming he went over to Amazon, and to get there, all you have to do is type in kenwalls.shop, and it'll direct you to my Amazon store. The book is in my store. You can go in there, click it, and pick a copy up of the Crappy to Happy Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. And Kathleen's story is two stories, right? You have two different
I have two stories in there. One is called Breathe, Just Breathe, about when I got diagnosed with a recurrence, and I kept having panic attacks, and I couldn't breathe. And so finally I said, you know, I have to breathe or I'm going to pass out. So I called into my husband and I said, can you tell me some jokes? And he turned around in his chair, he was watching TV, and he said, what? I said, I need some jokes, like right now. I can't breathe. So I'm not going to tell you the jokes because they're hysterical in the book. Just go and read them in the book. But they got me breathing because I had to laugh. Wow. And laughter is medicine.
You know, you have this just glow, this amazing aura around you. It's incredible. I absolutely love it. Look, don't go get this book for my story. Go get this book for Kathleen's story, and then read mine while you're reading the book.
He's got a great story. Like I said, you know, in his story, when I was reading his story, when it came in, before it went into the book, I was reading it, and he said there was this thing up in the rafters, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, here we go, another one. These white doves from heaven are going to come down. There's going to be white doves everywhere. A bat comes down. I go, I love this story.
Oh, I would have way rather had a dove. I would have much rather had the dove than a bat flying around my head.
Oh, but that was so real.
So go, yeah. I talk in that story. I tell things I've never talked about on air. So, yeah, go get the book. Right here it is, Crappy to Happy: Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. You can get it over in my store at kenwalls.shop. It's available anywhere on Amazon. go check it out. I'm excited to be a part of. I'm honored to be in the book with you. I didn't know all this about your stories. This is incredible. And you're scheduled to be on my show, Breakthrough Walls, where we're going to do a chronological journey of your life. And that's going to be fun.
Well, wait till when I'm on your show again, we'll talk about the room between realms of neither the living nor the dead. Oh, it's a really cool place.
Why don't we talk about it now?
Because I'm running out of time. I have to go do my show.
I know. All right, bye. Okay, don't hang up on me, but I'm going to end the live stream. Everybody go. Now I want to know about the room, dang it. All right, so cool. You guys are going to have to hang around until she's on the show. We're going to talk about that. Is that in the book?
No, it's not in this book. It's in Surviving Cancerland, and it's in Dreams That Can Save Your Life, another book that I did, but it's not in this one. Maybe the next book. We're going to do a third book. So, yeah, wow. The third book's going to be awesome.
Wow. Well, the second book's awesome.
It only gets better.
All right, everybody go pick up a copy of the book. I appreciate you all watching. And if you shared this out, extra bonus points for you. You rock. And Ernest Odell says, so glad you were on here. So am I. So am I. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys later. Kathleen, don't hang up on me. We will see you all later. Bye-bye.